Got it. Good. Here we go. I'm going to start this week with a story, which is how I like to start talks. Where I grew up, we had a TV show for kids, Jack and Norris, through the round window, through the square window, and through the circuit, through the triangular window. Which window? Oh, through the arch window. Which window are we going to go through today? I think we'll go through the square window. This story, I came across. The story, the name of it, as far as I know, is Gomaji Ganesh. Thank you, sir. And I came across it in a book called The Master Key of Self-Realization, which is by Sri Sadhguru Siddharameshwar Maharaj, which is a mouthful. Siddharameshwar is really his name, and he is Nisargatta's teacher, was Nisargatta's teacher, and clearly an utterly remarkable man, because there's another one of his students who is also fully realized human and who has also written some just remarkable stuff. So Siddharameshwar is clearly an amazing guy. Anyway, so Master Key of Self-Realization is like, it's about an 80 or 90 page book, which is his description of how to wake up. And I gave you a copy one time, I think I did a while ago now. Yes. So the story of, what did I say his name was? Gomaji Ganesh. Gomaji Ganesh. So in a mid-sized municipality in India many, many years ago, there was an individual by the name of Gomaji Ganesh who became sort of a medium-level official in the legal system. And somewhere along the way, and I suspect it was to just help him understand document flow, make sure he knew what was going on, he created a stamp, and the stamp had his name and the brass door on it. So every official document in that jurisdiction, he would stamp with Gomaji Ganesh, the brass door. And it came to be recognized that every document in the legal system that was a valid document would have this stamp on it. So he was just this mid-level official, right? So he passed away, and a couple of hundred years later, there's a court case. Somebody's suing somebody, and a document is produced as evidence. There's notarized and all the right stuff, but it does not have Gomaji Ganesh, the brass door, written on it. So the judge is throwing it out. So it's not legal, is it? So, but then the plaintiff's lawyer, starts looking into this and says, hang on, this is nonsense. So finally the judge looks into it. He says, this is nonsense. So they threw that whole idea out. No longer from that day forward did legal documents need to have Gomaji Ganesh, the brass door, stamped on them. It was recognized that was ridiculous, and when documents came forward with them, they were all laughed at. What does this have to do with us? The brass door. I, me. It's the same thing. We got all this stuff. Who is this person who shows up and stamps I and me on everything? What is that? Where does it come from? Why do we take it so seriously? We've been taking it seriously our whole lifetimes. And it's just like this Gomaji Ganesh. We've got this committee running around up here, this committee of the mind. And somehow or other, it's not even like there is a real me in this. Somehow or other, we allow individuals from this committee of the mind to poke forward and take over. And we attribute an I to this. And then we say, mine on top of that. Siddharameshwar goes on to say, when you bring two things together, you forget about the original item and the things he uses. What does he use? He uses flowers and string, and you get a bunch of flowers and you tie some string around, and then you've got a garland. You don't have flowers and string anymore. You have a garland. So when the garland starts getting old and wilted, you say the garland's fading. The garland's just time to throw that garland away. You've forgotten about the flowers. The 5 aggregates, right? bring it together, and we think there's a me here. We forget about all the other stuff. One of my favorite examples of this kind of thing is my wallet's in the car. I'd pull out a dollar bill and say, "What's that?" I'm not actually sure what it is, but it's fabric, I think, with some threads of metal in it and ink all over it, dyes. It's gibberish, really, if you think about it. Many, many years ago, people used to use scarce resources, use gold or silver or scarce metals and other scarce resources as tokens to trade with, and they didn't have any inherent value except for their rarity, really, or their beauty. You make jewelry out of them. And then we kind of ran out of those, and so we had this leveraged. We had the gold standard, and then a leveraged gold standard. So you got these pieces of paper that are supposed to be backed by gold, only they're not anymore. There's just nothing there. And then we've lived in a world where we've got engineered inflation that's been going on for a period of time. So you hang on to this piece of paper for a piece of cloth for a while, ends up being worthless, even by the system of agreement that we base all of this on. And that's all it is, it's a system of agreement. There's nothing there, folks. There's nothing here, folks. So what happens and how does it happen? It's a mystery, isn't it? This story I think it's pointing at something really profound. So this legal system, what is going on in that system? There's an illusion there. This stamp, it looks official. You look at it and it looks real. So there's an illusion. This is an illusion. Or it's illusory. Let's say not illusion, probably goes a step too far. This is illusory. And in the Tibetan tradition, there is a really deep practice called illusory form. And it is seeing that there is stuff here. Sure, there's stuff here. But there's nothing to hold on to. It's all coming and going. It's not what I think it is. But somehow or other, out of this, the fabric of the universe, if you will, this. This is also out of the Tibetan tradition. There's it's called the dark light or the luminous dark. So emptiness, there's the emptiness side of it, but then there's the immanent or the luminous or the bright side, out of which everything is possible. So emptiness doesn't mean nothing, it just means no essence. It's radiant, it's incredibly bright. Some of you heard me talk about an experience where I said, they're blazing with the light of 1 billion suns. It's just so bright, it's astonishing. And it's so bright, it fools the living daylights out of us. That brightness makes all of this happen. And it's so bright and so compelling, just like that brand new fourth generation 3D movie you'll go and see. It's like, wow, that is mind blowing. It is so real. It's an illusion, folks. Just like this, it feels so real because it is so bright, but it's illusory. And we let ourselves get caught up on that, in that illusion. It's like, Beth will laugh at me. Friday was a big day in the world. You know what happened Friday? 30 million copies of the latest game of Zelda shipped. 30 million. 70, so do we. $70 a shot. That was $2 billion changed hands on Friday for a video game. But you turn this thing on and the graphics are incredible. It's like this incredibly bright thing I'm talking about here. Somehow or other, when you're playing that video game, you got this little cartoon character that's running around and throwing rocks and wandering around with his sword and whatever. And somehow or other, there's this identity going on. It's not even here, it's in there, right? Somehow or other, there's an illusion happening and we move into an identity. It's astonishing, but it's just so natural and we're so used to this. Happens in the movies, right? You sit in the movie theater and you've got this thing going on the screen. and you feel profound empathy for one of the characters or a couple of the characters, and you sink into the movie. And this is the illusion. It's the same illusory thing. So it's so bright, it's so magnificent that we slip into believing it's real and making it our identity. And in doing so, we let the joy and the wonder of it slip through our hands, and what we're left with is creating our suffering. Because this suffering, in the same way, this suffering only exists when we move into this illusory place. If you recognize it was a bunch of pixels running around on the screen, we go, oh no, when Link falls off the cliff and goes plummeting to his death, right? We just wouldn't care because it really is just a bunch of pixels. And we would, if we knew who we, so I didn't say this one, Siddharameshwar, when Nisargatta first visited Siddharameshwar, these are Nisargatta's words, he said, and their relationship was really short. I think they only saw each other a handful of times at most. But it was obviously such a profound impact on Nisargatta's life. He said, Siddharameshwar, I wouldn't have called it, he said, Maharaj told me that I'm not who I think I am. And I believed him. And look what a difference 3 years makes. I think that's what he said. But it was the presentation by Siddharameshwar was so compelling that Nisargadatta recognized that this is illusory. This is illusory. Once you start to really see and believe, know that to be true, this thing we call suffering starts to shift, because our relationship with this phenomenon shifts. We start to see it as phenomenon rather than as pain, rather than as suffering. We start to see this is phenomenon. This is a phenomenon. And as such, we can start to look at it from different sides, and we can start to not get caught up and put that Gomaji Ganesh stamp on it and say, oh, the brass door. That's me. Vexating, that's me. So this was the introduction to that book. And in the Sanatana Dharma, the tradition that Siddharameshwar was teaching, the central practice, which is really valid in our tradition as well, but it's the central practice that he uses, is neti, 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 not this, not this, not this. You're never told what reality is and what you really are. You've got to figure that out yourself, because the only way you can do it is figure it out yourself. But it's not this, and it's not this, and it certainly isn't the brass door.